Welcome back. You're watching DD News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. And time now to talk about Pakistan with our special guest, because it does seem to be on a path to recovery where its economy is concerned, but it remains quite unstable, both security-wise as well as politically. We're joined by TCA Raghavan, former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan. Good evening to you, Mr. Raghavan. What do you make of the fact that Pakistan on paper does seem to be recovering in a way? Inflation has been sort of reined in sub double digits now from the high of 40%. And now, of course, things looking up where the economy is concerned in terms of how its foreign reserves look as well. But do you think it's out of the woods now, or does it still need a lot of support from not just the IMF but from others too, which it really seems to be counting upon?
Well, terms such as recovery or out of the woods would be an overstatement at this stage. Yes, the immediate crisis was staved off because of the IMF package earlier, which was sanctioned. But the recovery, such as it is very fragile and is to a very great extent dependent on external financing, and most of all, external financing led by the IMF. Pakistan also has to do a great deal of heavy lifting with some of its principal economic partners to reschedule various debts which have now matured and are due for repayment. So I would say that while some amount of stabilization has taken place in the past few months, it has still a long way to go, and the economic situation will continue to worry the government of Pakistan a very great deal.
Right. And in that, what is happening with the political situation is again quite concerning, because again, if you look at how things are going with the opposition, or even with the situation in Balochistan, the situation could erupt at any moment, and there's no effort on part of quote unquote the Pakistani establishment to address it in a manner where things could be worked out.
You see, about 2 years ago, the term multipolar crisis or a plural crisis was used for Pakistan, and Pakistan continues to be in that state of comprehensive crisis. That crisis is, of course, economic, but it is also political. And as you mentioned, the intensity of the confrontation between the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party, led by former Prime Minister Imran Khan, who is in jail, and the government backed by the military, that confrontation has moved up by 2 or 3 notches over the past week. So there is this political crisis which is ongoing, and perhaps equally seriously, if not more seriously, is a national security crisis in the form of major terrorist attacks and a great deal of friction in Pakistan's relations with the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, with the Taliban regime in Afghanistan itself, as also an insurgency in Balochistan, which continues to flare up periodically with very damaging results.
Why do you think is the ruling establishment, which also includes the armed forces, why aren't they making any efforts to address these problems and letting them fester? Because it seems that as long as it's not addressed politically through some sort of a process, just responding to it in a knee-jerk manner or militarily or putting people in jail, do you think that would help?
Well, clearly responding in a knee-jerk or piecemeal manner is not helping. But the fact is that Pakistan faces, most of all, a crisis of confidence and a crisis of fundamental lack of consensus among not just the political parties. That lack of consensus is there between the political parties, but there is also a lack of consensus between different stakeholders. The intensity of civil-military contestations, although these remain below the surface, those have gone up. There may well be some amount of disquiet within the military also, as is evidenced by the arrest of a former chief of the ISI, which has never happened before. And there are numerous tensions between the judiciary and the political parties, between the judiciary and the military. So, which is why people refer to a comprehensive crisis. And it is possibly beyond the competence of one party or the present government to find a comprehensive solution to all this. It's very difficult to answer why they cannot find the answers, but to a great extent, Pakistan's crisis has been endemic. And in some form, different crises have been there in Pakistan for a very long time.
Yes, it's almost endemic, and yet it keeps on finding backers. We've seen Shahbaz Sharif, heard him as well, that he's called these countries, apart from IMF, of course, there are these countries, including China, which have been lending a helping hand where Pakistan's dire straits are concerned. Why do these countries keep backing Pakistan?
Well, they back Pakistan because they value their bilateral relations with Pakistan. Pakistan is the fourth or fifth largest country in the world. It is situated in a very important location in geopolitical terms. It has nuclear weapons. So no country, no major power wants to see Pakistan go totally under. I mean, from our point of view, if you see it from an Indian point of view, we certainly don't want to see a civil war type of situation in Pakistan of the kind there is in Sudan, because in the end it is a neighbor. And if there is major and chronic instability in an immediate neighbor, that has very grave implications for us. So there is a certain compulsion amongst the international community that they have to continue to see that Pakistan does not go under, and to an extent, this means helping it from time to time.
Right. Now, India has been very clear with its approach towards Pakistan with this government which took over in 2014, and since then, although an effort was made to reach out to Pakistan, it was not reciprocated. In fact, it was completely betrayed. And then ever since then, there's been virtually no engagement. Do you think that is something that will stay the course till Pakistan shows any sort of interest in changing its own ways?
Well, the general pattern of India-Pakistan relations has never been that relations remain static for a long period of time. The typical pattern of the relationship is that it has waves, that relations improve and then go into a crisis mode where they remain for some time, and then efforts are made to improve them again. Now, it is true, since 2016, 2017, there has been a prolonged downturn in India-Pakistan relations. But at the same time, there have been major positive steps, such as the ceasefire on the line of control, such as the opening of the Kartarpur Sahib visa-free corridor. So it is not entirely a negative picture, but on the whole, relations have been at a very low level since 2017, 2018. There are different views about this. In my view, this is not a permanent state. I think the situation will change depending on our assessments of Pakistan and our assessments of Pakistan's future behavior. But nothing in diplomacy remains static or permanent. So one can expect that there will be initiatives depending on how the situation develops.
All right. Well, let's leave it there at the moment. Ambassador Raghavan, thank you so much for joining us to talk about it this evening.
Thank you.